very excited about this segment, you guys. I'm here with Pete from Bethesda. How are you, Pete?
I'm good. We're having fun here at PAX 2017.
Heck yeah, man. I saw your booth from across the hall. I knew we had to come check it out. I'm a huge Bethesda fan, specifically Wolfenstein. And I mean, I'm a big Elder Scrolls fan as well in Fallout, but I am hyped for Wolfenstein, and this booth is awesome.
Yeah, we're here in the diner that we sort of drew inspiration from the game. We're handing out milkshakes to folks after they get a chance to go hands-on with the beginning of Wolfenstein 2. You know, we're like 2 months away from the release, so everybody's getting excited.
So how's the reception been so far? I mean, you got a long line. I'm very anxious to play myself. Is everyone pretty hyped like you are?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, it's the first chance the studio's had to do a sequel to something that they've made, and so being able to kind of build on this nonstop, crazy, over-the-top action combined with, you know, a really cool story, interesting band of characters. Like, folks really have been enjoying it. You start off the game as BJ in a wheelchair. Your body is sort of broken from the last game, so you actually are rolling around the sub in a wheelchair, kicking Nazi ass, and from there things only get crazier.
I love the sound of that. So in the last few games, there were some decisions you could make that would change the outcome of the game. Who lived, who died. Yep. Are we going to expect some similar things there?
Yeah, absolutely. And a little bit of that we have to put up to the players because, like, well, we can't actually tell whether you killed Fergus or Wyatt in the previous game, but you'll decide which one of them lived or died, and it does make changes, like certain weapons that you only have access to based on, or a version of it based on which player is still alive in your story.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. I'm so excited, man. I really am. But that's not all. I kind of, you know, your booth is massive. It goes all the way behind me here, and it kind of extends down this way. What else are you showcasing here?
I mean, we have 3 VR titles that we're showing off here. We've got Doom VFR coming out for both PC and for VR for PlayStation. We've got Fallout 4. We've got Skyrim VR. We've got Quake Champions, which has just gone into early access on PC. We have the Elder Scrolls Legends, which is out on PC. We've got The Evil Within 2, Shinji Mikami's new survival horror game, a follow-up to the last one, which we can't wait to get out.
Yeah, I'm going to cut you off right there. I played the first one. I couldn't finish it because it terrified me to my core. I'm a total wuss. Like, I really am. So I start like every horror game and I get halfway through and I can't finish them. Do I need to play through the first one to play the second one?
No, I mean, we're pretty big believers in every game that we do needs to kind of stand on its own. That certainly there's context, so if you played the last one, you're going to understand a lot more kind of what transpired in Sebastian's life, but you know, just like with any other game, like even if you were doing an original game, we're introducing characters and concepts in the last Wolfenstein game where, well, you don't know who Fergus or Wyatt are when you see them, but it's clear BJ does. So you don't have to have played the first one. You get more context if you have, but if you don't like being scared, I got really bad news. This is still really scary.
It's not that I don't like it, it's that I struggle to, like, when I get so scared, I look at my computer, I'm like, I know this is going to be intense. I know it's going to freak me out. And I stream quite often, so I don't, you know, it's like I'm going to get ripped on, I'm going to get made fun of. But that's good. Like, if you're pandering to your horror fans, it's good to hear it's going to be scary. Is it scarier than the first one?
Different. I think it's scarier, and it's also more horrifying, which sounds like it's the same thing, but it's actually not. Like, there's all kinds of ways to keep the player off balance, like jump scares and combat scenarios and all of that, but there's also ways to, like, there's a scene in the demo that folks play where what you think is a woman, but she's actually some other thing, is feeding what you think is a kid, but is not really a kid, and it's one of the most horrifying things I've ever seen in a video game. Like, the first time I played it in the office, I literally put the controller down and walked out of my office, like, very upset, like 10:30 in the morning, and my team is looking at me like, what is wrong with you? Like, I just played that scene in The Evil Within 2, and I just need like 10 minutes to clear my head. So, like, they're scary, and then there's horrifying, and this game definitely has big swaths of both.
So I actually remember your booth when the first one came out, and you had the same thing. They had this dark pod that everyone came into and played, and you got the box head to put on if you went to the booth. And I remember everyone walking out of there just being kind of like, you know, like totally like that was yeah, something, which is cool.
Yeah, well, you get very different reactions depending on when you see people when they leave our booth. So if they just played Wolfenstein, they're drinking a strawberry milkshake, and maybe they're laughing because there's some ridiculous stuff and there's over-top action, and, you know, you're shooting, stabbing, and strangling Nazis. This is a lot of fun, and then you play The Evil Within, and you look shell-shocked, very disturbed, possibly nauseous, and so you can kind of tell when people are leaving the Bethesda booth what game they just played right, because the guy smiling definitely wasn't playing The Evil Within. He was probably playing Wolf or something else a lot more fun. So yeah, so far it's been great. We got Dishonored Death of the Outsider,
which is... I wanted to talk about that next, actually. I like Dishonored. I haven't had a chance to play 2 yet, but I loved 1, and 2 is on my list to play after I get some vacation time banked up after all these conventions. So tell me about the expansion a little bit.
So Dishonored Death of the Outsider is a standalone DLC. It tells the story, and it kind of finishes the story arc that we've had across 1 and 2, the story of a character who's from the first and the second game, who is basically on a quest to work with Dowd, who, if you played the first one, Dowd is the one who kills the Empress at the very beginning. He's sort of this legendary assassin in the world, and he's working with a character to basically kill the Outsider. He's decided that all the chaos in the world and all these things going on can be tracked back to this guy who is essentially a god in the world of Dishonored, and he wants to kill the Outsider. And so you play as Megan Foster, and you have some new powers and abilities. You have this new ability to switch faces with a character in the world and sort of assume their identity as you move through. Yeah, it's a little like Game of Thrones, Arya Stark kind of there. But some different abilities, new powers, and again, all of that sort of immersive choice in your gameplay. Like, you're going to decide how this unfolds, whether you play lethal or non-lethal. Are you stealthy or sort of kicking indoors and going in swinging? It's entirely up to the player. Big, meaty, full standalone DLC, and it'll be out here in just a couple of weeks.
That's awesome. Does it take place after 2 then?
Yeah, it takes place sort of shortly after the events of Dishonored 2, and Dowd has been captured and is being held prisoner. She goes and rescues him, and then he's like, hey, this is what I'm up to. This is what I want to do. Are you in? And she's like, hell yeah, I'm in. Like, let's go kill a god. And the rest of the game is you trying to pull off what is essentially the greatest assassination ever attempted, killing the Outsider.
I'm not going to lie to you, that sounds pretty badass, and you set that up perfectly. So I'm curious, you have great titles here, Dishonored, Wolfenstein, all these VR that you're bringing to the table, Quake, too many to name. What is your favorite?
Man, I can't pick one. Yeah, I can't wait for Wolfenstein 2 just because I enjoyed the first one so much. The Old Blood, which was kind of a throwback standalone DLC that kind of builds on BJ's backstory a little more. I love that. Can't wait to play this, but I am really kind of in a sort of ready to torture myself way. Literally, interested in The Evil Within 2 because they're really doing a lot with story and a lot more exploration and giving the player more choice. It's not so linear the first one. You've got a lot more decisions to make in terms of what you want to do or not do. So, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I like Legends. I can't wait to play Death of the Outsider.
How's the? I haven't gotten to see any of the VR stuff, but for me, Doom and Wolfenstein, obviously old titles, been around for a long time. I remember watching, and this is showing my age. I remember watching my dad play on the computer and not letting me play the originals. How's the VR? Because the new Doom, the music was so good. That game was perfect for Doom fans. Is the VR the same?
Well, so the idea was you can't take the Doom game we put out last year and put it in VR.
Sure.
Nobody plays more than 15 seconds of that game without throwing up. So it was how do you take the sort of aggressive, kind of self-aware, over-the-top action of Doom and bring it to VR? And the way that they've done that is slowing the pace down a little bit so you're not actually moving physically, you're teleporting. But things like glory kills, right? You were sort of encouraged to go finish off demons from really close up. Now that we use teleporting, which a lot of games do in VR, you actually use the teleporting as your finishing move. So when you see a demon that's been weakened, we call it telefragging. You literally teleport onto them and sort of finish them off with the teleport. So you still have this notion of being aggressive, but you're not literally running through the world and double jumping and doing all those things that in a VR game it's too much. But you still feel like the Doomslayer. You're still, feared by demons everywhere, and you're there to kill. And so it's a really great, tight, 3 to 5 hours of fun. Lots of people have been talking about wanting to go back and play it again. All the weapons you remember, the music, the sound effects, the demons. There's something about a cacodemon coming into the room and looking up at him in VR where you're like, oh my God, those things are huge, right?
I didn't even think about that. Is it just as visceral too, graphic?
Yeah, that sort of bloody, gory, visceral combat, but now it's all around you. There is no screen, and so when you're looking up at slavering demons, it makes it feel so much more realistic than anything you experienced in the last one.
Sure. I don't. This has been great. First off, thank you so much for all this. This info's been awesome. I want to circle back because I love this diner you got going on. Cameron probably got a shot of this, but what do people that are playing Wolfenstein get out of this?
Well, so when you're done, we want you to remember Papa Joe's, and so we've got these fine folks back here making a strawberry milkshake, which comes from one of the scenes in the game that you might have noticed when we first announced it. But yeah, everybody gets to walk away, including you, with one of your very own Papa Joe's milkshakes. Yeah, perfect. For sanitary purposes.
I do appreciate
go.
that. Sanitation.
Now you got to try it and tell the folks whether it's actually a good strawberry milkshake.
Oh yeah, that's good. Thank you. Great. Oh my God.
That's solid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where else do you go at E3 and
get a milkshake?
Milkshake and some great.
I'm in, man. I'm in, and I love the Papa Joe's diner. That's
absolutely,
so awesome.
Yeah. Now you're all set.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Can I hand that off to you, Mr. Producer? Thanks again.
Absolutely.
This has been wonderful. Seriously, I'm a huge fan. I'm very excited. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Have a great PAX.
Thanks, man. See ya. All right. Enjoy, guys. Back to you.